Hi, welcome to the small shed. This week the duck's back. I'll see you in a minute. Now, a couple of weeks ago I did the flying duck for the lady at for Menning Sheds. Nothing wrong with it, it's working fine, but when I rang and said it was ready for collection, the lady's daughter, I think it was, said she was beginning to wonder whether she should have had it painted. And she came in and had a look at it on the following Monday, and sure enough decided she wanted it painting, which is a bit of a problem really as far as I'm concerned. I wish I'd known beforehand, because I'd put quite a bit of Danish oil, or teak oil I think it was I used, on the duck itself. And I'm not sure how that's going to react with paints, nor am I that sure how I'm going to paint it, because I'm not a great duck painting expert. I've never painted one. The only duck I've ever painted was in World War II camouflage, because it was a landing craft that I did when I was making airfix kits as a child. I think I know what I want. I've had a look on the internet. It's relatively straightforward. There's a mallard duck, yellow beak. The head is very much metallic-y sort of sheen of green with perhaps a bit of blue in it, I'm not sure. White collar around the neck for the male. Mainly there's a brown tum on the front part, and the rest of it is towards grey and green, and the wings are sort of greys and browns. Now I think I want to use, I shall probably use car spray paints for most of it, purely and simply because I've got them, and I've got the metallic greens and that I've got for the cycle cart. But first of all I want to try and stabilise things so that I don't get a problem with any reactions from oil being underneath the acrylic. So I think what I'm going to do, I've got a can of cellulose sanding sealer in a spray can, and if it will take a coat of cellulose, clear cellulose, that should give me a good enough base to work with, and then I'll give it a coat of grey and work, or grey primer, and then work off that and see how we go from there. So let's get it outside, take it to bits first, and see if we can't get it looking a little bit more like a duck. Just give it a rub down with isopropyl alcohol, get any last bits of dirt, dust, grease off it, because it's been kicking around in the shed for a day or two. Beauty of the cellulose is that it dries almost within seconds, so I can carry straight on. I was going to do the whole thing in a grey, because most of the duck colour is grey with brown sort of shading on it here and there. But I'm wondering whether to leave some of the original wood as the brown on the effectively on the front part there. So I think it would be nice to just keep some of that original wood in amongst it, showing as brown. So what I'm going to do is just mask that area off roughly, and we'll come back to it later and try and blend it in with the acrylics. What tends to happen is if I spray it with like grey primer and get some brown in amongst it as well, you can generally get a paintbrush with some isopropyl alcohol, and it will just allow you to soften it up and blend it into the wood. So we might try that, because the whole thing will then have a coat of clear lacquer on top. So just about where the neck is going to be, doesn't have to be too exact because I've got a white ring to put on it first, but I think I might just try and keep some of that wood and just roughly tear it like that. There'll be a straight clear line there, but we can soften that later. Do that on both sides. And then we'll spray the whole thing with a grey primer. Roughly speaking, about there like that. Right, that's got me a rough brown area for the bird itself, and then all we need to do is go and spray the whole lot of it now with the grey primer, and we'll go on from there and blend it. The wings have got blue as well on top, so I'm going to have a look and see if I've got any sort of metallic-y sort of shining iridescent blues, but we'll get the undercoat on first. I've just been up into the roof section up there and had a scrounge around. I've got some interesting plastic coat stone in grey, which gives quite a texture with flecks in it, so I might put a little bit of that onto it. I've got some brown, Ford Rio brown. I've got an ivory to do the neck. I've got some Rail Match BR Rail blue, some gloss blue, and some Capri blue for a Fiat. So hopefully I can sort of start and spread some of that around. The browns I think are going to be easiest, because I'll just do almost like airbrushing but with a spray can to get edges and things done. The blues I suspect I may need to do a bit more work with, because it's quite a well defined panel. When you actually look at it, it's quite clearly marked down the wing, and quite how that will work on a wing that's going round I don't know. Right, that's got the body done with the stony flecks and that, the greys and the browns. Just going to do the head now. I've wiped most of the sticky out bits of the texture off it. Just going to go and get some metallic green, and we'll give that a do with metallic green. I've masked off one side of one of the of each of the wings, just to do a flash of blue. It's only on the top of the wings, and whilst there isn't a top and a bottom, I'm just going to do one half, one side if you like, with a blue, and then we can just do the white around it afterwards. Probably do that by hand with a brush. That's got the duck mostly done, I think. I might do a bit more detailing on it, but there's a beak to do in yellow and a collar to do in white, and a bit of touching up, because the masking tape has taken some of the stuff off, which is what I was half afraid of with this. Oh no, of course it's just thinking it hadn't. It's because I've left the brown, of course. I was thinking it was pulling the paint off, but it's the bit I deliberately left to be brown timber. So we've got to put the white colour on it. That's got the brown on his tongue. We just do, as I say, fade that in, blend that in around the edge, and we'll go and get some yellow paint for a beak. The body itself looks a bit boring. I'm not sure whether we can do anything with that, just to liven it up a bit. Yeah, let's go and get the yellow out. Now the edge between the grey and the timber, the brown, is a bit stark, so I've just got a cotton bud with a bit of isopropyl alcohol on it, With any luck we can just blend that in, just make it a sort of a gradual, not quite such a sharp line. And then when we get to getting all the other bits finished, we can just cover the whole thing over with a clear coat of lacquer that should shine it all up a bit. That's just, as I say, turning it from a sharp line into a blend. I've got the yellow as well, so we'll give the beak a go, and if I can get that done today, give me a chance to get the white on tomorrow, Sunday, and I can get it back to the lady on Monday, I hope. But yeah, that'll just take that sharpness out of that joint between the two so that we've got the mark. So next job is the yellow paint. I don't know what state this will be in, because the last time I used any yellow paint in modelling is probably 10 years ago. I did have this one out the other day for something, I can't remember what, so I'm hoping it'll be reasonably, yeah, a bit of colour in that. Can't think what I was using it for, but I did stir it up for that. Gives a nice contrast on the beak. Might be a bit too bright actually, but these things sometimes benefit from a bit of exaggeration. Just have a look at the picture, because I'm not sure whether there's a junction on the beak. I don't think there is. No, it tends to go a bit whiter towards the back, but there is actually a line there, so I've got to try and work as closely as I can to that original line. Right, one yellow-beaked duck. So it's not quite the right colour, but it's not really a duck. I have to put a black eye in as well at some point. So we're getting somewhere closer. The grey is probably a bit darker than the original, but it is relatively close to what I'm working from. I've decided I might as well go and get the whole lot done if I can today, because there's no separation between any of the bits that I'm painting. The white doesn't go anywhere near the yellow, so I'm just going to do a collar around the neck. I don't want it too uniform. Okay, come on to the eye in a minute. I just want to go and get the wings in and see if I can get those done as well. Now these have got like a line of white across the back of the blue, a bit more subtle. Fairly far forward and on the top half, about there. And on the other side. Let that dry off now, and then that means I can lacquer it tomorrow without any worry. As I say, I'll just whip outside and put a spot of brown over the whole lot just to tone it down a bit, but you won't need to see that. Right, that's screwed the wings back on. That's got it back to being assembled and ready to fly. The brown has come up nicely with the clear lacquer on it, the original wood, because there's still all the grain in it That looks nice. That's come up well, as has the iridescent head with that green metallic spray. You get the flash of the blue when the wings go round as well as with the real thing, but obviously it's nothing really like a duck. Hopefully though it's better than the original was, which was certainly pretty much ruined by rot, and I hope it will give many years service. Right, that's got the duck finished for the second time. It's not quite perfect, but I'm no Michelangelo and I don't know how to paint a duck, but at least hopefully the lady should be happy this time. So we'll get it back to her tomorrow and see the last of it, I hope. Hope the video is of interest. Look forward to seeing you next time. We'll be doing something different and I look forward to seeing you then. Bye!